So then I cut the umbilical cord, they weigh the baby. There's so much other stuff going on I wish I could describe, but I'm not Stephen King, okay? If I was Stephen King, I could accurately tell you what that picture looks like. Hey everybody, welcome back to Newlydad. This is episode 2, Revenge of the Me. I am Diego Attanasio. If you don't know, that's who I am. I don't know why you would be listening to this if you didn't know me, unless someday in the future I become more successful and outside of the sphere of people that know me and to people that don't know me, and they're just like, oh, isn't that the guy from that thing? Podcast and or stage work, and or maybe he's a hand model, which I'm not. I bite my nails, have since I was a kid. That being said, I could be a hand model because believe in yourself. So, but yeah, so you probably know who I am, and welcome back to episode 2. I'm shooting this one right now, and you're watching it in the future. And I won't bury the lead. We had the kid. We had the baby. The baby came out. This is the hospital bracelet. I did not go to Coachella. This is a bracelet from the hospital. So baby's born. That's it. That's a wrap on the series. That's all that we're going to talk about is how I had a baby, and it was just 2 episodes long. I was going to have a baby. Now I had a baby. So yeah, we had a baby boy, and it was crazy. It was the craziest thing that's ever happened to me. If you know me personally, you know that I'm kind of unflappable in that my low grade depression kind of makes it hard for me to feel anything. So I'm not the kind of person that gets very excited or gets very upset or gets very any of those things. But yeah, having a baby was nuts. There was so many crazy things I'll hopefully get to in this episode. So my wife went into labor. Well, I don't know. You know, last episode we talked about early labor and other parts of labor, and she started having contractions at 3 p.m. on Saturday, which is crazy because so the baby was due October 29th. And he was way over his due. Not way over. I don't know how much is way over. It depends on who you ask. If it's a pizza, he would have been way over because it was due October 29th, and then we had him November 8th. So if you got a pizza a week late, you'd be like, I mean, you're getting 10% tip most. You're not going to get a full 20 for being a whole week over. So he was a week late, a week and a couple days, not quite a week and a half. But she started having contractions at 3 p.m., and then they lasted for, over an hour, and they were whatever length we talked about and whatever director we talked about last episode. And then we get to the hospital for, I don't know, 4:35. And she's in early labor. She's not quite dilated. You got to be dilated a certain amount for them to consider you active labor. 6 centimeters is what you're supposed to be. It's an educational podcast. It's very important that you guys remember 6 centimeters is active labor. So, but we decided because we were going to be induced the next day, scheduled for an induction at 4 p.m. the next day, we're just going to stay overnight and see how it progressed. So we stayed all night, and in 10 a.m. in the morning, we got Pitocin. They stuck me first. She got Pitocin. That really sped things along, and then an epidural. That made her real nice to me. And then we had a baby at 8 p.m., 8:12 technically, 8:12 p.m. on November 8th, Sunday, November 8th. A baby boy weighed, you're supposed to remember how much it weighs, right? That's important for some reason. You're not allowed to ask a woman how much he weighs, how much a woman weighs, but you're allowed to say, hey, baby, how fat is that baby? You're allowed to go right up to a baby and say, baby, tell me how fat you are. The baby weighed 9 pounds. That's a big bass. That's a really big baby. I remember when she was pushing it out, and I didn't want to look. That's been my debate probably since I realized that the men have to be in the delivery room, is whether or not to look or not. To look or not to look, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings of looking into the birth canal. They talk about the cradle of life. I think it's somewhere in Africa, but I'm pretty sure it's that thing that you can look or not look into. And I looked. I didn't mean to look. For a while I wasn't looking, but then towards the end of the delivery process, I was helping hold her legs up, and they put her up in a way where it was just I saw it. I saw everything, and I saw the top of his head. And at that point, I was like, "Oh my god, his head is so little." I just, from the little thing I could see, I imagined the entire baby, and I was like, "Oh," and it made me cry or whatever inside, not outside, because I'm a man and I'm not allowed to cry, or at least that's things I impose on myself. I have trouble crying unless I'm at a movie at 1 p.m. for a matinee on a Tuesday when no one else is in the theater. I'm seeing some sort of animated movie or any movie where someone's chasing their dreams. That makes me tear up. Or when someone is doing anything. Movies make me cry. I don't know why. It just makes it easy for me to tear up. I don't know if you guys are like that, but I need movies to release. That's why this quarantine's been hard on me, because I haven't cried since March. So I needed movie theaters to come back so I could go cry. But so I saw the top of the baby's head and I was like, oh my gosh, the baby's so little. And then the baby came out and it was so much bigger than that. It was what I thought was the top of his head was just like, I don't know, I guess it was his ear. I don't know what it really, he comes out and the baby's head is like it looks like a russet potato. That's the shape more or less of a baby's head, is a russet potato. So it comes out and you're like, oh, it's still coming out. And then it keeps coming out and you're like, oh, I'm hallucinating. I've tripped into a fever dream. And there's no way that this is real. And then you see his face and you're like, that's what a baby looks like? Dude, it's like, do your makeup. This is your first day of Earth. Baby was like purple and slimy and super gross. Everything, people warn you about. They're like, don't have a baby. It's super gross when the baby comes out. That's the only reason to not have a baby. It's just very uncouth the way the baby looks when it comes out. So then the baby came out and they were like, ahead of time, they asked me, they call you father, daddy or something? I don't think they call you dad. They're not like, daddy, are you going to, the nurses and the doctor, they say, is the dad, I think dad, or is dad going to cut the umbilical cord? And I was like, if I'm awake, I will definitely cut the umbilical cord. So that's what I did. They gave me the scissors and I cut the umbilical cord. I don't mean to brag here, but it took me a couple tries. I didn't get it all at once. I'm not one of these one cut chumps. I had to snip and snip and snip, and it was pretty gross. It was not a cool time. I don't recommend cutting the umbilical cord. Didn't get much out of it, except for the scissors. They gave me this. They were like, you want to keep the scissors? I was like, man, what am I going to open? What am I going to open? What do you even open with scissors? I don't know. I haven't used a scissor since 1884. So we've got the scissors from the umbilical cord. I hope they cleaned them because I've used them to open. I did open some chips at the hospital with the same scissors. So I hope they wiped them down at least. So then I cut the umbilical cord. They weigh the baby. There's so much other stuff going on I wish I could describe, but I'm not Stephen King, okay? If I was Stephen King, I could accurately tell you what that picture looks like, but I'm not Stephen King. Suffice to say, there's a big pound of a placenta or something. There's like after the baby, another like should have been a baby comes out, and it was like, oh yeah, that's terrifying. And then I hold the baby, and you're like, whoa, this is a baby, and it's crazy. And I said on the last episode, but it's like I hope my child never hears this. But I was like, this is really cute, but let's get to know him. Let's not just throw around the L word. I'm not one of these shack up right away kind of guys. I need to meet you. Let's see what you're like. Let's meet each other. So he was cool. He was pretty chill off the bat. So we're hanging out for a bit, and he's screaming in the other room. I wonder if I'm going to get divorced over sitting in this room and talking for an hour by myself. Stay tuned. Episode 3, Newly Divorced. with Diego Attanasio. So then we get the baby, and then we go to our room, and then we sleep all night, or I don't really remember. You're tired, and the baby's waking up, and you're holding the baby, and then the baby doesn't eat much the first couple of days, or he shouldn't, or he's on a diet or something, because he's like, look at me, he's trying to get beach body ready as a baby. So then we're hanging out at the hospital. Apparently, you're supposed to stay like 2 days or something, or they usually keep people and the baby 48 hours after they're born. But because of coronavirus, have you guys heard of COVID? The pandemic, the scourge on our society and culture and way of living. Have you heard of that? Apparently, they're only doing 24 hours, so we only had to stay 24 hours, which was kind of nice, but it still felt like a long time. And you're just in this one room, and she can't walk very good because she just had an epidural, and her body was split into two, and so she had problem walking on account of her body being split into two, so she couldn't do that too good. So she's like, mostly bedridden, needs help to go to the bathroom, and it just feels like baby jail. You're just in baby jail for 24 hours. And you can go to the vending machine and get some jail chips and eat those. And the second night, I just went all out and got a lot of chips. So I ate a lot of chips and salsa for dinner. That was my meal. That was my last meal there. Technically, I guess it was. And then we left in the morning. So now I have a baby. So now I'm a father. And then I got home, and I did the most father thing I've ever done my whole life. I got home, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to go rake the leaves. I had to rake the leaves as soon as we got home from being at the hospital for 3 days. 2.5 days, something like that. Got there Saturday, stayed Saturday night, stayed Sunday night, stayed Monday night. We left Tuesday morning. Yeah, that's a good amount of time. So I got home from the hospital, and I raked the leaves, because they're picking up the leaves on tomorrow, Wednesday, November, whatever, Wednesday is 11th. And I was like, if that ain't being a dad, is raking your leaves the day you come home with a baby. You gotta rake your leaves. You can't not rake them. Very undad-like. And I gotta tell you, after being up and not sleeping that much, and being in a hospital for 2.5 days, I did a bad job. I did a bad job raking those leaves. If I worked for a landscaping company, they would have fired me. They would have been like, "You gotta go, sir. You need to." They would have been like, "Give us the rake. Hand over the rake." All right. I don't know if you could tell there, but the baby interrupted. The baby interrupted. That's the first time, we'll put it on the board, the first time the baby has interrupted my career. Hopefully I edited it well so you couldn't really tell. Probably don't even need to say this, but I feel like in the podcast space, it's important to say, hey, stop for a second for whatever reason. And I got a LaCroix. A lot of people say LaCroix, but apparently it's LaCroix. I watched 3 or 4 YouTube videos to figure out that it's LaCroix. So people love it when you eat and drink on a microphone. So where was I? I have no idea. We were talking about the baby, something, baby this, baby that. Should have done more research. Oh, raking the leaves. I was raking the leaves. Yes, that's what I was doing. I was raking the leaves, and got real tired and realized that I could not do it. I could not finish. I wasn't raking. I was using a leaf blower, which is very fun for like 30 seconds. And especially when you're a kid, you're like, oh, I bet that's a real fun chore. Is blowing the leaves with an electrical or gas-powered device. We have an electrical leaf blower, which is it's kind of a bummer. You need a lot of cable, and you tie them all together, and it's not a good time, because you inevitably get to a point in the yard where you're like, I can't. There's just a little bit more leaves that I can't get to because of the wired version. So I needed the wireless leaf blower. I want to get one of those backpack blowers, but I feel like that's too much into dadhood. So maybe if you subscribe to my Patreon, I can afford a backpack blower and be one of those guys. So another sip. LaCroix, sponsor of the podcast. Not really, but that would be neat. I can't put this anywhere that you'll see it. Oh, well, there it is. That would be sweet if... Oh, the baby's screaming again. He just hates it. Hey, sorry about the audio in this next part. My baby did it, and I didn't have time to fix it because he started pooping everywhere all the time. So, it's a new day. I don't know if you can tell. I changed my shirt. I could not get through last night. I couldn't do it. The baby kept crying, so I had to keep getting up. My wife's in there by herself, so I'm a bad father. Should be fine. It should be 20 minutes or so, and then I'll head back in there and take my shift. I slept all day, so that I can stay up all night. So that'll be the new challenge of the day, is how to handle that. But I don't know. I used to sleep until like 1 or 2 p.m., in my heyday, when I wasn't working, when I didn't do too much of anything. So I should be able to revert to my roots and just try to sleep in, and then stay up all night with the baby, So hopefully she can sleep and we can do it that way. But I mean, that probably sounds like a good plan on paper, but I'm sure literally every time the baby cries, she will just wake up, because there's no way I'm going to be able to soothe him or feed him or change him fast enough for it to not wake her up. So there's that. Just trucking along. So today was interesting. Early in the morning, went to the pediatrician, and it was I was so tired. I was so tired that I felt like I was just deadly ill. Got kind of tired. We got a scale from the pediatrician so that we can weigh the baby. We can fat shame the baby. Be like, hey, baby, get it together. What do you think? You think you're just gonna get all these character roles, these character actor roles? You think you're just gonna be a fat little pudgy baby? So they gave us a scale, probably to make sure the baby's gaining weight. That's actually what it's for. I know everyone's like, the baby's supposed to be gaining weight the only time. You live it up, baby. You take advantage of this time when you should be gaining weight. That's important to... it's rare, It's not going to be forever, baby. Eventually, it's going to be like, drop and give me however many you can, and then 5 more every week after that. And whatever exercise routine the baby will be on. So, all right, let's change it up. Let's have a little more levity. Let's have a little bit more fun. I went to go see Tenet a couple weeks ago. Tenet came out. It's been a while now. It's been a while since they came out, but big movie guy. I really like seeing movies. I'm not like a classical movie. I haven't seen like the Criterion Collection. I haven't seen all the movies you're supposed to see or anything like that. Like, I could probably rattle off a bunch of movies that would offend you that I hadn't seen it. But I do like seeing newer movies, and I like going to the movie theater. A lot of times if I'm trying to kill time during the day, a little visit to the movie theater is a good way. And it's like cheaper at noon. It's like $5 at noon sometimes, and kills 2 or 3 hours. And then you get a little snack on the way home, and it's a nice chunk a day. Movie theaters have been closed, and really been missing it. Really been missing movie theaters. So I have started wanting to go see a movie. And when Tenet came out, I was dead set. I'm like, I love Christopher Nolan. I love what he's done. I know everyone's all the Dark Knight or whatever that movie was the best movie ever. Heath Ledger as the Joker, really good. But I just really like Nolan. I love Memento. I watched that movie a couple times. Every time I see it, it's so so interesting. I don't know. I guess it's kind of gimmicky, but I really like that. And I love The Prestige, and Inception was crazy good to me. And I actually am one of these Interstellar fans. I really like Interstellar. I think there's some cool stuff there, and I really enjoy it. So anyways, long story short, I really like Christopher Nolan, so I really want to see this movie when it came out. And Michigan was still in stage 49 lockdown, whatever that is. They were in still lockdown, and I was like, oh man, I really want to see this movie. So I started Googling things, and I found out that they were playing this movie in Windsor, Canada, of all the places, which, if you're familiar with the geography, it's south of Detroit. It's the only part in Canada that is south of America. I don't know if that's true, but it is true that it is south of Detroit. So Windsor, you just hop on the tunnel, hop on the bridge, and you're there in 5 minutes, and even faster because no one is trying to go to Canada because it is illegal. You're not allowed to go to Canada because of coronavirus. So I paid my $5, 4.75 Canadian. I got in a tunnel, no traffic. What a time! What a time to travel internationally. I highly recommend it. Just to see what the tunnel is capable of. There's no speed limit. No one's doing anything down there. You can just fly, 9,000 miles an hour through that tunnel. So I go over to Canada. There was a bit of a wait, honestly, on the other side to get through customs. There's a bit of a wait. So I wait, and then I get to the guy, and he's like, "Hey, what?" They say, "Oh, hey, buddy," or, Canadians. "Hey, buddy, what the hockey stick are you doing over here, bud, pal?" And I said, "I'm going to a theater," and he was like, "Oh, what?" And he was just confused. And he was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I want to go see a movie." And he was like, yeah, we can't do that, man. Do you know about you watch the news?" And first of all, I'm like, who watches the news? I'll read Twitter, Reddit, mostly, or whatever bleeds into my Instagram feed. But I don't watch the news, no. He was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can't let you over here just for entertainment purposes." I'm like, I had a feeling. Don't get me wrong, I'm not stupid. I didn't know I could get over. I didn't think I could get over that. There was a glimmer of hope in my eye that maybe I could, and I thought it was worth a shot, and I thought it was worth killing some time because this is back in, what was it? Well, let's just say early August, and a lot of time to kill, a lot of nothing to do all day long. Can only work out so much. Can only watch so much TV and play so many video games and read so many books. Never read a book in my life. But I do that thing where I will start reading a book, in about 5 pages, I'm like, "Oh, you know who would love this book? Anybody but me. Literally anybody but me." But right away, I'm recommending this book that I haven't read any of to other people just to get it off my shoulders. I think that is now the universal purpose of books, is to recommend them to other people. That's what you do. You start reading a book and you go, "Oh, my mom would love this book," and then you give it to your mom. So I was bored, and I tried to cross the border to Canada, and the dude was like, he was actually pretty cool. He was like, "Well, I don't know. You can talk to, their special agents." So he gave me a slip, and he sent me over to like the refined dialogue people where they like search your car if they think you have drugs. Has or has not happened to me in the past, maybe. And then now I'm talking to two other officers, women this time, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm trying to go to a theater," and they're like, "Well, like a play or something?" And I'm like, "No, like a movie, like Christopher Nolan, Dark Knight, Inception. Heard of him?" And she's like, "What are you talking?" She's like, "Don't you read the paper?" And I was like, "Okay, first guy, maybe, but who reads the paper? That's crazy." Actually, I started reading the local paper, the Royal Oak Times, or whatever it's called. Because for the crime section alone is interesting. It says like tons of cars just get broken into all the time, and then every once in a while there's just a funny story from like a older guy who's like, "Somebody shook their fist at me and I complained," so they got to put that in there because they're filling Crime Watch in the local paper. So I was like, "No, lady, I didn't say lady, like I'm not that person. I would say lady to a female officer. I was like, "No, ma'am." I think I said ma'am. I think I always defer to ma'am and sir whenever I'm crossing lines or speaking to official people. I would say, "Ma'am, sir, I did not read the newspaper today. I forgot to renew my subscription to the New York Times, so forgive me." Yeah, she's like, "What do you think you can just?" I'm like, I mean, I thought it was worth a shot. Basically, I got time to kill, and there's a theater over in Windsor playing. I think it wasn't in Windsor; it was like a little north something of Windsor. But I was like, I could drive there if they let me over. I could drive there. They had showtimes for the movie, so I thought it was worth a shot. So they were like, "No," so they sent me home. Coming back, coming back from Canada, I had to talk to a third man, the guy at the U.S. border, who's like, "Why were you over there?" I was like, "I tried to see a movie," and he was all like,
don't you read the Kindle? And I'm like, that's closer, I guess, but I don't have a Kindle. And then he was just like, yeah, just go. And I got on my phone and I was like, okay, there's got to be somewhere that's playing this movie. It was like my days. I woke up. This is opening day for the movie. I love an opening movie day. And I was like, there's got to be a place that's playing this that's accessible to me. And there was in Toledo. So it's like, all right, I'm driving to Toledo. I'm going to go to Toledo, Ohio. I'm going to cross state lines to go see this new Christopher Nolan movie. And I did. I crossed state lines. I drove not too, I mean, it was maybe 45 minutes from Detroit, a little outside of Toledo. And I went to this movie theater. They seemed like they had the safety protocols in place. Plus, no one was in there because who would go to a movie during a pandemic? This guy, that's who. I went and I saw Tenet and I friggin' loved it. Tenet's one of my favorite movies in a long time. Maybe it's because I'm movie deprived and maybe it's because one of the only movies I've seen in a while, but I really enjoyed Tenet and I highly recommend it if you love being confused. It's very confusing and a lot of these scenes will make you uncomfortable and you're like, feels like you're doing math the whole time. So it's definitely one of those movies you got to see multiple times, I think, to wrap your head around. Maybe that's kind of not a good sign, but I enjoy it. I remember I like woke up thinking about the plot and I watched like 97 YouTube videos talking about the movie and how the movie plot worked. And I feel like I at least I've switched over this mode to like every movie I watch. It's really just the beginning of watching a bunch of YouTube videos about the movie I watched, and I watch reviews to see if other people think I should like it and to just form my full opinion. And I watch people explain things and get into arguments on Reddit about whether or not something was real or not in the movie. And yeah, long story short, if you've seen Tenet, just text me. I really want to talk about it. I've been trying to talk to people about Tenet for months now, and no one has seen it. So I really just need to do that. Need to discuss that movie. So that was my crossing the border story. I got over there. They just didn't let me stay, basically. And I thought about it first. I was like, man, if I just make a run, I'm pretty sure. I don't even think Canadian cops do anything. They just be like, oh shucks. Oh well, good luck to him out there. What's he gonna, how's he gonna survive out here in the friendliest country in the world? How's he gonna make it? Every time I go to Canada, I always have this thought like, I should just stay here. Like I should just keep driving north and find a little town and no one else will ever find me. And this was all thoughts I had even before I had a baby. So if you can imagine now how I feel, I have those feelings as often as that baby eats. So 8 to 12 times in 24 hours. So my YouTube algorithm is all messed up post babydom because before the baby was born, I was YouTubing, doula videos and midwife videos about how to have a baby and how to help someone have a baby and how to help the doctors help you have a baby and help you help us. And I was watching a lot of those videos. So now my YouTube videos are like 10, the For You page or the recommendations. It's like, here's a video we recommend. Here's a review of Tenet. Here's another video of explaining the Tenet review. And then there's a video about 8 things to take to the hospital with you. So now my entire feed is things to take to the hospital for the birth of your child. But YouTube doesn't know that the baby's been born to take those videos to, oh, now what to do with the newborn. That's what I need now. We're done with the computer's not that smart. For all the intelligence we have in this technological, that's definitely a word. We don't have computers that know that the baby's been born. So that's where I'm at with my YouTube. And yeah, if you have any recommendations for YouTube videos, I appreciate that. That would be great. I would love to. I watch so much YouTube. It's crazy. I watch podcasts on YouTube. I watch sketches on YouTube. I'm watching information on YouTube. I'm learning. I'm cooking. I watch a lot of cooking. Things I never intend to cook. I mostly don't eat meat. And I watch them make the heck out of some steaks just all day, rare, medium, every kind of. oh, we figured out how to make a steak like no one's ever made a steak, and it's always just salt and pepper and searing hot cast iron, and then you baste it, and then you baste it with the butter and a little sprig of rosemary or thyme or one of these herb looking things. You leave it on there while you baste it with the butter at the very end. Then you turn it on the sides and you sear the sides and you wrap it. You gotta let it rest. You gotta put it down. You gotta put it at the same time as you put the baby down. You put the steak down and you let them rest and you let them think about what they've done until they become really delicious steaks. So watch that. I've become a big sketch comedy person. There's this group, Auntie Donna, that I really like that has a show on Netflix soon. Netflix alert. Check this out on Netflix. Auntie Donna has a new Netflix show. I can't exclusively vouch for it. Wow, that's not the right phrase. I can't wholeheartedly vouch for it. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm a big fan of their sketch comedy on YouTube. So I assume that they've done a good job there. I assume they've done a good job, but who knows? We'll see. And that might be it. That might be it for this episode. This might be a short one. Thought I had more in me. I guess I could have just ended it yesterday. I was like, oh, drats, that baby ruined me from talking for this whole time. But he didn't. He did not ruin me from talking this whole time. It just nothing exciting. That's just the hospital. I'm at the Comedy Castle tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, I'll be featuring for John Heffron. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and they just added a show on Sunday. They're mostly sold out, but I think the early shows, or the show on Thursday and the show on Sunday, still have tickets. So if you want to go see me, hopefully I put this out in time, and hopefully you care. And hopefully you're the kind of person that will weather the storm, even though there's spikes in the corona. Hopefully you'll still go do stuff. I'm gonna prepare for these. I think next time I'm gonna do a little more note taking ahead of time. But I've just been really tired from being at the hospital and sleeping and eating, and I'm acting like this baby. I'm just sleeping and then eating, and then I just go right back to sleep as much as I can. I think I slept like 10 hours today, which is, thanks to my mother-in-law, my wife's mother. She's been helping out. But, we'll see tonight. I'll have a report of how the first night of me trying to stay up with the baby after sleeping a lot today goes. I'm hoping good, but you never know. You never know. Something crazy will probably happen. And, yeah, alright. That's it for me, you guys. Thanks for watching. I don't have my hat. I'm going to put it on and say, I was going to say, you ready, kids? Let's go. And then put the hat on, but I left it in the other room. Not going to go get it. Not worth it. Not a good bit, as they would say. Cut it. They'd say, cut that bit. So, that's it. That's it for episode Newlydad, episode 2. Join the Patreon, follow us on Instagram, even though it's just me, Diego Comedy on Instagram. And I'll see you next week, probably with maybe an interview. Maybe I'll interview somebody. Maybe I'll get some dialogue going. Maybe I'll do something like that. So, alright. See you guys later. Bye.